The Texas Stars avoid elimination, taking Game 5 at home. Let's break it all down on Rink Wide Vancouver. What's going on, everybody? Rink Wide Vancouver here at our studios in the Wall Center in downtown Vancouver. It wasn't as long as Game 4, the overtime period. Well, it needed a little bit of extra time to finish it off, and Texas is a Stars' favorite phrase in sports. Stave off elimination and drag this series all the way back to Abbotsford for Game 6 on Sunday, taking the game 2-1 in overtime. Curtis McKenzie with the overtime winner to force Game 6. That'll be Sunday night, 6 p.m. local time in Abbotsford. Dave Hall will join me a little bit later on here in the program. But as always, Rink Wide Vancouver, a proud presentation of Bet365. Want to get in on the action for the Stanley Cup Final? You can even bet some AHL hockey if you want. At Bet365, they've got you for game props, player props, total, and the money line. Whatever your bet's never ordinary. Bet365. Download the app, get in on the game. An official partner of the Stanley Cup playoffs. You must be 19 or older. And thank you for everyone that always watches these shows. You like, you subscribe, you're in YouTube, you're in the chat. I see you. Our super chats, if you want to get involved even more, a little donation goes to our proud partners with the BC Mental Health Foundation. That's our charity partner this season, has been all season long. The BC Mental Health Foundation, changing the face of mental health and addiction by supporting breakthroughs in care, public understanding, research, and knowledge exchange. Interesting hockey game. A little bit of a snooze fest for the first couple of periods. Some first-timers, Arshdeep Bains getting on the score sheet for the Abbotsford Canucks for the first time these playoffs. Artur Shilovs with an assist on that goal. Magnus Hellberg started in goal. He came in for relief in Game 4, was excellent all through the third period and in the first overtime and the second overtime. And he was brilliant in this hockey game for the Texas Stars, probably one of our stars here on Rink Wide Vancouver, as you will see a little bit later on in the program. We'll get to the stat that stands out as well. We'll take a look way ahead as the schedule is out for the Calder Cup Finals. I've got a little bit of an issue with that. And then, there's a lot to talk about in this game as well. So again, we're going to get to all your chats and everyone that wants to talk about something. Super chat already. Hugo Mugo. Thanks, buddy. Dang, Daniel, close game. We'll get the next one. Thanks for the show. Definitely a close game. It was tight. It was uneventful. But I want to start with Arshdeep Bains because a lot of talk in this market about his play in these playoffs. Has he been snake bitten? He's just not doing enough. He doesn't really have it. We talked about it last game. Tyson Cole is here. Dave Hall will join me in a little bit. But maybe he was just fighting it a little bit. Well, fighting it no more. He got off the schneid, as they like to say. And his goal was brilliant. Wrist shot, basically top corner. The only goal that beat Magnus Hellberg, and it was a perfect shot. It was something that you want to see from Arshdeep Bains, being able to go and get that goal. I was assisted by Artur Shilovs as well. So good for Arshdeep Bains to get it. He also had 5 shots on net. So that's something that you want to see from a guy that's not been playing so well, and the guy that, probably down on his game himself as well, is to be able to go out there, shoot the puck, have some confidence, and good things do happen. So 5 shots for Arshdeep Bains, obviously a goal there. The only goal of the game for the Texas Stars in regulation was Justin Ritskowian. He scored to give the Texas Stars a 1-0 lead, and then obviously Abbotsford was able to fight its way back and force it in overtime. And then in overtime, didn't take as long as the Game 4, but Curtis McKenzie, the captain of the team, ended that one. Both teams will stay the night in Texas, fly all the way back here to Abbotsford for Game 6 on Sunday. It's going to be interesting. There's a lot of back and forth. I want to get Dave Hall's take on the goalie situation, what we saw from Magnus Hellberg. I mean, he's a guy that just a seasoned pro, and it looked like he was calm, cool, and collective. Artur Shilovs obviously making some big saves when he needed to. Power plays, referees getting in the way of the game, I think, is going to be a theme and has been a theme in this postseason for me, is at least just watching these games, is, let them play. Let the guys play a little bit. right? So I think we should get to Dave Hall, that he is here. He's obviously a presentation of our Pacific Toyota dealers. I want to tell you about the Toyota BZ4X, 100% electric, backed by peace of mind knowing it's a Toyota. Spark of joy when you pass a gas station knowing you don't have to stop. You want to know why? Because it's electric. What you're able to do on a single charge with the vehicle, oh man, you can go everywhere. So there's so many things that you can do. Packed with the things you want in an SUV, cargo capacity, fits fence, family, sports gear, hockey bags, whatever you need. Can handle any terrain. So it can take you from the city to the slopes, wherever your life takes you. When you choose a BZ4X, you can get a $5,000 incentive, and now you can finance a 2025 BZ4X from 0.9% APR, 0.99% APR for 36 months. Visit shoptoyota.ca if your local Pacific Toyota dealer today. As we bring in our good friend Dave Hall. Dave, thanks for doing this. I said it was a little bit of a snooze fest. I also messaged you at 8 o'clock this morning saying no OT. And what happened, David?
I will vouch for it. He did message me at 8 a.m. and he was indeed right. I hope you placed a bet on that one.
Didn't take Abbotsford, but there's some shekels. So when you look at the start of this hockey game, obviously overtime, we'll get to it in a little bit. But what'd you make of it from the Abbotsford Canucks point of view?
Yeah, I think you nailed it. It was a little bit of a slow one, but I think Canucks were probably happy to play in that kind of game. I mean, they've been playing. They love that kind of low event hockey, right? Like that's where in the earlier the starting of the series, they got themselves into some trouble playing that high event hockey. That's the Stars like to play. So I think it was important for them to kind of slow it down and try to come out with a greasy win here. And unfortunately, it just didn't work. But credit to the Canucks. I thought they did play the back half at least of the game. I thought they were definitely the better team and just got stymied by a hot goalie. I mean, they could have won this game on numerous chances in that third period. So credit to them for that, but also big credit to the goalie there. So back to Abbotsford. Who wants to win a game on the road anyways, right?
Of course, especially one with this magnitude. Shots were 9-9 after the first period. I thought that kind of was indicative of the way that Abbotsford wanted to play this game. It seemed like they weren't very tentative. They were a team that knew what was at stake, and they probably wanted to end this one early, so getting the shots off early. But let's talk about Archie Bain. Scores the only goal for the Abbotsford Canucks, a game-tying goal, and we obviously talked a lot about him last game. Yep. You've been talking a lot about him with Jeff Patterson and doing the other shows all throughout these playoffs. What'd you see from him? What'd you like?
Yeah, well, it's about time. I mean, I think you just like Jonathan Lekkerimäki in last series. I think you could just see the monkey just jump off his back there. Like he deserved it, right? Like, yes, you could say he's been playing poorly, he's been fighting it a bit and all that, but he's still had so many chances, especially in this series, to score a goal. And even before, leading up to the goal, he even had a couple chances himself. And, there was that one 2-on-1 just before he scored that goal where he kept it, where he's usually the dish guy. So that he was trying for that one. And so not only does he scores a fantastic goal. Like, that's just a beautiful toe drag release there. So, good for him. He's a guy that they need to start scoring if they're going to, I guess they're in the the conference finals, so they've been doing a fine job, but I mean, he's a guy that they need to score if they're not going to get goals from their other guys. So credit to him. It's nice to see, and let's just hope he can keep that momentum and hopefully score a few more in game 6 here.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that you just want more offense, right? But in a game that was tight checking, low scoring, both goaltenders came to play, and we'll start with Magnus Hellberg. I mean, he's a guy that's, been a pro for so long, comes in relief at, in the third period in game 4 and is absolutely lights out, and in the second star of the game in the building. But what more can we say about this guy?
No, and he comes in from seemingly nowhere too, right?
Yeah.
He comes in relief. He hadn't started a game in the entire playoffs, and he comes in and just steals the show. Like he in my eyes, he was tonight's first star.
Yeah.
He was just fantastic, and none better than I think it was 3 minutes left where Nate Smith came out. He somehow got past the defenseman, went 1-on-1 with Hellberg, and Hellberg stretched out for the beautiful leg save. So he's the difference maker in this one. If there was so many chances where he could have let in there. So it's a completely different game if he's not staying on his toes the entire game, and he stole one for the Stars here.
I know that Tyson, I'm just going to blame Tyson, is maybe talking about that Artur Shilovs was playing too much and maybe getting a little bit tired. He's not here, but obviously Artur Shilovs doesn't make the saves that he makes, and this is a whole different story as well. So what'd you like from the guy between the pipes from the Vancouver side? Or
Yep.
Abbotsford, sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, obviously not as busy as
Yeah.
Hellberg, but he had his fair share of saves. The thing that I like about his game is that a lot of his saves, he was making a lot of them from that stretch shot that we've been talking about with Silas for so long. He had a lot of point shot saves where he makes the initial one, and then he got some help by some of his defensemen. I know Mancini had a huge block in the third period after Silas made the initial save on the power play. So I thought he was good. I didn't think he had one of his most electric nights, as he's had to a couple times in this playoffs, but he made the saves when he had to, and credit to him after letting that let's call it a weak goal at the very starting of the game there. I thought it was a nice deceptive play from Justin Riskovitz there, but at the same time that's probably a goal that he wants back, just sliding it through the wickets there. So credit to him for coming back and staying positive there.
I actually wanted to get your take on this last game, and we'll get to it here. They're 1-for-3 on the power play. Manny Malhotra is not a guy that's known for being a power play offensive coach. Obviously, his game has a little bit more structure to that, but we talked so much last game about special teams, and this game it was the goaltenders that had the battle and and a couple of goals there. So, what'd you make of the Canucks power play here?
I haven't really liked their power play much this entire playoffs. I just thought. I don't know. I don't know if they're keeping the perimeter. Yes, the penalty kill is doing a good job, but I just find there's just a lot of perimeter work where there's just not a lot of. They have a set play that they typically run, and it's typically manned by Atu Ratu. So he makes a big difference out there as the playmaker, but they like the bumper play that they've made a few times in this series, but it just hasn't really worked the way that they like to. And when that one doesn't work, it just seems like they kind of run out of options to choose from, and they're just kind of spraying and praying, if you will, just kind of running on the perimeter and just hoping the shot can get through, really. And so it just, I don't know, it's lacking a little substance for me, and it has the entire playoffs. So
you think that's personnel? Or is it more so scheme? I mean, look, you and I both, I'm sure Manny Malhotra would want to be able to throw Jonathan Lekkerimäki out there and be like, let him loose and let him fly. And obviously, he's not having the postseason that everyone wants right now. So it probably has a little bit to do with personnel to an extent, no?
Well, that's a good point. And, we actually saw it a few times tonight. I remember thinking to myself, boy, I wish Klimovich or Lekkerimäki was there, because Max Sasson would get it at the trigger spot on the half wall. Yeah. And he's just not a guy that's going to shoot the puck. And so it would pretty much just eliminate that entire play. And there was a couple prime opportunities for that to go to, a left-handed shooter sniper. And it was Max Sasson, who's, great player, but, he's typically the down low guy that's going to grind for the goals, not take that nasty one-timer. So yeah, it's definitely a thing, a player personnel lacking on that left. You want that left shot one-timer option, and they just don't really have that. So yeah, that's definitely a factor.
The Klim Reaper, Klimovich, only one shot on net. Guy that we talk about all playoffs long and has been an absolute stud and a workhorse for this team. Linus Karlsson, no points, 7 shots though for him. So it's not for the lack of trying. I mean, this guy's ripping the puck left, right, and center, and it's just not going in for him. What's your message if you're Manny Malhotra, or what do you think his message is? I mean, the team played good enough to win this hockey game, right? You take your chances in overtime, and you kind of go from there. So if you're him and your coaching staff, you got 2 chances to close it out at home. You probably want to get it done in the first chance, but you still feel like, obviously they're in a pretty good position here.
I think so. And, as boring of an answer as it is, I think you just stick with what you've been doing, right? Like they, as we already said, Hellberg played one hell of a game. And I think there was plenty of opportunity for this team to take this win home, especially in that back half. Like, they were the better team, make no mistake about it. And, so I think, as long as they're playing that slow paced game and just not playing into Texas's game, which is kind of a high flying, scoring off the rush, scoring on the perimeter with, Blue Mel and all their sharpshooters, I think they played a pretty good game. And so as long as they can just continue this, hopefully get a few more goals and just find a way to, now that they've seen Hellberg for a full game, you hope you can kind of adjust and know where his strong suit is. I mean, at 6'6", he's got a lot of strong suits. So you kind of just got to get him moving and hope that they can bury some more in game 6.
Yeah, I think we talked about it before. I said he reminds me of Anders Nilsson. Just
totally
a lot more skilled and able to stop the puck a little bit more. I guess my next question to you Is Abbotsford okay with this rough and tumble kind of what we saw there with the referees near the end of the second period? It might not be, to me, it seems like they're not a team that wants to get into that. And the Texas Stars are a team that has no problem getting into that, the after the whistle stuff.
Yeah, I mean, they do have some guys that definitely love to get, they got Jet Wu, even Mancini has shown, but, now we're seeing it from guys like Ty Mueller and Christian Milan. And I don't think they probably are the first to step up, but, it is playoffs. So, anyone is really going to step up and when the bell calls. But yeah, I mean, I think the big thing about that is I just think they have to watch out and not get caught up in some of that, right? Like, thank goodness Sammy Blais wasn't on the ice at that point, because he's shown a couple times in these playoffs where he's taken some undisciplined calls. And so, if he's in that scrum at the end of the second, who knows if they come out with, shorthanded in that option. But yeah, I think they do have some players that can definitely play. And I think that's why you have a guy like Jet Wu consistently in the lineup, because, he's willing to throw that hit. He's willing to throw those punches, and he's willing to stick up for his teammates there. So
if there's one thing that you could take from this game, bottle up and take it into Game 6 at home on Sunday afternoon from the Abbotsford Canucks point of view, what would it be?
Just keep shooting. Just keep firing those shots. Work it around the perimeter. They got to get him moving. He's a big guy, and so he's going to make that save if you're going to give it to him. But if you can kind of move him around, just keep on going and just don't let up. Right, just keep that offense pouring. So I think just keep shooting. And, like I said, it's nice to have Archie Bains on the scoring side. And so hopefully that gives him a little bump, as we saw with Jonathan Lekkerimäki in Series 3 there, where he scored. And he ended up looking the best he's ever looked this entire playoffs for about 2 games after. So hopefully Archie Bains gets that same bump.
I'll ask you the opposite to that. If there's one thing that they needed to clean up in their game, what did you see from there?
Stay out of the box. I mean, I credit, I will say, obviously, and I think you touched on it, they weren't getting much help from the referees. They were calling, they've been calling a lot this entire, I forget what the number was, but I think it was 27 penalties heading into the game. Don't quote me on it. I could be a little bit off there.
Yeah,
regardless, but it's been a lot. And some of them, we're talking about the Western Conference Finals here. I think you could probably, I think you could probably put the whistles away a little bit more, but yeah. So for me, that's the big thing. They need to stop going into the box. That power play has shown time and time again that they can score the goals, and they're going to if you keep giving them opportunities.
When was the last time the Abbotsford Canucks lost back-to-back games? I think it's been a while. We've lost 2 games in a row, hasn't it?
It's been a while. I'm going to let Jacob help me out with that one, because every single time I say that, it turns out that it wasn't as long as I thought it was. So
no, but I think it was.
It's been a while.
A couple listeners in our chat are saying that it's been a while.
Yeah, and you know what? Seelovs has made a pretty good habit in this playoffs of bouncing back big time in losses. So, let's hope history's on the side on Sunday.
What do you got on deck for the Farmies?
A whole lot of nothing. It was a snoozer. I'm just kidding. It was it's not going to be nearly as long as Game 4, but it's still got a good amount of stuff. Like I said, that second half was definitely a good run for the Canucks there. So unfortunately, it's not a win, but we'll take it as it is.
April 11th and 12th versus Calgary was the last time the Abbotsford Canucks lost back-to-back games. 5-4 loss and 3-1 the next night. So well over a month, almost 2 months.
I wish I went for it then, because I was going to say something around there, but that just seems so far away. I felt like I had to have been wrong there, right?
It seems like we've lived another season already. Well, we are, right, with 1 win away from the Calder Cup Final. But Dave, thank you so much for this. Obviously, make sure to check out the Farmies. Dave Hall does incredible work from Canucks Army. You're going to want to read those, and make sure you get to that. Thank you, and we will talk to you on Sunday. Oh, here's one. We'll talk to you on Sunday. Will we be talking about a team advancing to the Calder Cup Final, or will we be talking a team that is going to be a little bit quaking in their boots for Game 7?
Like I said, who wants to win on the road? They want to make sure they go back to Abbotsford and get this thing done for a packed house at the Abbotsford Center. So pack that house, sell out last home game, so let's hope it's the same on a Sunday.
Absolutely, Dave. Thank you so much for this. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Dave Hall from Canucks Army. Obviously, he has all the good stuff, so make sure you go check out his stuff on the Farmies. Read all about the Abbotsford Canucks, and he's got a lot there. Again, go check it out. I want to get to something because we teased it a little bit talking about the stat that stands out. I want to get to that before we get to the 3 stars on this hockey game, if that's okay with you, Jacob. Let's get to the stat that stands out, a presentation of Bogey Juice. It's handcrafted with tantalizing blends of crisp apple flavors and a kick in ginger for that refreshing zing. Every shot of Bogey Juice is like a hole-in-one in your taste buds. Sweetened to perfection with simple syrup and made even smoother with top-shelf vodka. It's the only juice that's guaranteed to make your golf buddies beam with envy despite the score it refers to. Check out bogeyjuice.com for more and use promo code SP15 for 15% off Bogey Juice and merch. My friends need a lot of that Bogey Juice when playing. But here, our stat that stands out. Over the last 3 first periods, there have been 14 penalties. This is my message. This is my PSA to the officials. Let the players play, especially in the first period of hockey games in the Western Conference Final. Let them play. You don't need to call these ticky-tacky penalties. You don't need to. They're in this position for a reason. Sending guys to the box, left, right, and center. No need for it. 14 penalties in just 3 first periods. All of those games obviously were in Texas. I don't know what the officiating crews are different or where they are, what's going on there, but that is the stat that stands out, and that one you don't like it. I mean, there's a lot of penalties that were happening that obviously Dave and I just talked about, but yes, 14 in the first period alone. Let them play. Let them do their thing. Let it be exciting for the fans. You slow the game down if you don't. Don't let it get any momentum, so let the players play. Let's get to our 3 stars. 3 stars in the building were, I believe Magnus Hellberg was on that list. Yes, he was. Magnus Hellberg was the 2nd star in the building. Curtis McKenzie was the 1st star, and Justin Ritzkoian was the 3rd star in the building. So a straight sweep for the Texas Stars at home. Obviously, after a win, you can guess that was going to happen. A little bit different here, but we're giving Magnus Hellberg the 1st star. 30 saves and a dub. After coming in seemingly from nowhere, his agent is a good friend of mine, so he's beaming with excitement about that. Curtis McKenzie, game-winning goal, 4 shots. And yes, Arshdeep Bains, 1 goal, 5 shots on net. Good for Arshdeep Bains. Good for the Abbotsford Canucks to see him kind of get that monkey off his back and be able to go and score that goal to get his team obviously in the lead, or to tie the game, to be able to hopefully bring this one home in Abbotsford on Sunday. 3 stars brought to you by Greta Bar, a great place to watch sports on all the big screens. But they also want you to know that they're big on team building and summer social events. So if you're looking to get your group out of the office or for some corporate fun, or you're looking for a place for your team to gather, consider Greta. For all the arcade games, Mario Kart, the basketball is awesome, street food menu, and weekly special drinks, Greta Bar is a place to be. 50 West Cordova. Greta Bar, let the games begin. I'm going to run through this hockey game again because the scoring was non-existent, obviously. It was a 1-1 game. Justin Ritzkoian opens the scoring for the Texas Stars in the first period, and it took a while for things to get going a little bit as Arshdeep Bains was able to tie the game, which obviously was huge. And then Curtis McKenzie, the captain of the Texas Stars, obviously likes to rough it up as well, was able to take the game into overtime and win it there for the Texas Stars. Magnus Hellberg, though, again, the story, 6'6", calm, cool, and collected in net. There's a couple times it showed on the stream there in the broadcast of the game. You know, very nonchalant, makes the saves, makes the really easy ones. You know, he's a guy that goes about his business pretty quietly from what I hear, you know, and I really do believe that, you know, that could be the way the tide turns a little bit for the Texas Stars, right? You put that guy in net and obviously good things are happening for your team. He's allowed 2 goals, basically, since he's taken the net. So good for him. But from the Canucks point of view, you know, you look at it, you're coming back home, right? Matty Malhotra, his coaching staff is going to harp the message of this team is in a very good position, right? You're up 3-2. You got 2 chances to close it out on home ice. You probably want to get it done on Saturday. It's not a must win. We call them must wins. I know people love doing that, but it's can't lose. You can't lose that game on Sunday evening in Abbotsford. It's going to be packed. It better be packed. Fans that want to follow the Abbotsford Canucks and watch some playoff hockey, and from all accounts, the games have been incredible in Abbotsford. So make sure you go check that game out on Sunday afternoon in Abbotsford. If they lose, obviously, Game 7 will be here Monday. We'll be here Sunday as well. I believe Tyson Cole will be with me for Sunday. Dave Hall also will be back for Sunday when we do this show. But yeah, it's been an interesting one, and the kind of the way that this series has gone, right, for the Abbotsford Canucks and for the Texas Stars. But back home, and home is where the heart is. If you're Abbotsford, home is where you can take care of business. You can take care of home ice. You have things to your advantage. Crowd is definitely going to be a factor. I believe the Abbotsford crowd is a lot better than, the Texas crowd from what I've seen, obviously, on different social channels and watching these games. So, it's going to be packed. It's going to be great. It's going to be a wicked atmosphere. Make sure you go and check that one out. As far as lineups and games, I'm not entirely sure that Jonathan Lecker-Mackey is going to get back into this lineup. I don't know if you're thinking that, Jacob. Do you? Do you kind of agree with me?
Hard to say. All through the playoffs, I think Brandon Astle mentioned it on the broadcast, they haven't iced like the same lineup multiple times in a series, whether it's injuries or other different performances, having to take guys out. I feel like, though, if you're going to bring him back in, do you maybe do it in Game 6 and then, if it doesn't work out?
Well, you have to do it for the power play. Like, there's something's got to give on the special teams, and I think that's the biggest thing. Dave Hall pointed it out. Like, you've got to have a shooter, you've got to have someone there that's willing to pull the trigger. And yes, I know Lecker-Mackey hasn't been the guy that's been wanting to shoot the puck a lot, but maybe Klimovich, the Klim Reaper. I just love that name, the Klim Reaper. It's might be one of the best names, the best nicknames in AHL hockey, at least right now. So it's going to be interesting. All right, let's get to the rest of the schedule, because we kind of looked way ahead, you and I, Jacob. We looked way ahead as to see what was going to happen if the Abbotsford Canucks took care of business. Obviously, they didn't. But Game 1 of the AHL Calder Cup Finals, Friday, June 13th. So even if they win on Saturday, they still basically have almost a week off before they obviously have to get to Charlotte to be able to go and travel there and all of that. But yeah, Friday, June 13th, Sunday, June 15th, and then obviously back in Abbotsford or Texas, depending on who wins that game for games 3, 4, and 5. So it's a very interesting schedule. I'm not entirely sure that they need that much time off, but that's okay. AHL scoreboard and the schedule presentation of the Vancouver Canadians. Our good friends, the Vancouver Canadians, out on the road this week. They'll be back home June 10th to open up a homestand against Spokane. June's got all sorts of great promotions and giveaways, including Dog Day at the ballpark, where you can bring your pooch to the park. For the full game schedule, promo schedule, and for tickets, check out CanadiansBaseball.com. Abby, once again, has a chance to close out the series. Abby probably needs to close out the series. Like I said, it's not a must-win, but it's a can't lose. So the Abbotsford Canucks, they drop Game 5 in Texas by a score of 2-1 in overtime. Game 6 goes in Abbotsford at 6 p.m. local. Game 7, if necessary, will go on Monday, 7 p.m. local. We'll be here for it here on Rink Wide Vancouver. Again, not the most exciting game when it came to the score sheet. Just 2 goals. Steve Bain's finally getting off the schneid for the Abbotsford Canucks, so that's a positive sign. We'll see what he can do on Sunday as the rest of his team, and we'll see if Manny Malhotra will want to make any line-up changes. I don't think you're going to see any in net, and I don't think you're going to see any in net for the Texas Stars either. But nevertheless, it's going to be us here post-game, and you've been watching Rink Wide Vancouver.